All right, welcome, guys. Today's episode number one of Constructing Future, and this is Davide Nicco, your host. And today
Oh,
we have on the podcast my best friend, a great guy, an amazing speaker, and his name is Jonathan Mordan.
let's
Welcome,
go.
Jonathan.
Thank you, my brother. I'm your best friend, man. You're my best friend because you talk so highly of me. It makes me it makes me feel good. What's
You
happening
are
to
you
you?
are a great person. No? We
Thank you,
met
man.
what, like 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah, 5, 6 years probably. Yeah, yeah.
6 years ago.
I think a little
Yeah.
bit more. I think yeah, like 6 years. You're right. Yeah, it's been a while. Wow,
Wow.
that flies, man.
Time fly, yeah.
I got gray hairs now. I didn't have any gray. I didn't have any gray hair when we met, brother.
That's right. That's right. So, Jonathan, tell a little bit more about what you do, and so the people here in the podcast can hear about it.
Well, I'm a real estate professional first and foremost. I do a lot in the real estate industry, anywhere from like brokerage to developing property. My main alley and channel is real estate development and redevelopment. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. So, I started by myself. I started as an agent working with investors and, finding properties for people, always trying to provide value in some way. I was always pretty resourceful and savvy. I knew how to put numbers together. So I figured, in a market like Miami, it was when things are so
Miami.
expensive. And yeah, Miami, baby, one of the most dynamic markets in the country. I figured that I needed to find a way in. It was a very competitive market. And a lot of it was about, let's see who could pay the most. And I figured, my way to add value was to try to get in there and find, discounted deals for people, find deals with opportunities that other people weren't seeing. And I started doing that. I worked with a couple of multifamily investors. Initially, I was acquiring properties for them. And in order to continue adding value, I would acquire the properties for them. And these were commercial properties, 10, 20 units. And then what I would do was once I acquired the property, I would then help them add value to the property by, increasing their NOI. So, I'm starting off in the beginning and I'm trying to find an angle, and everybody in Miami is doing the luxury, the pretty stuff. And I always wanted to deal with the numbers, because they made more sense to me and it was a little less emotional and more, predictable. So I learned it. I learned it a lot. I studied the finances, I studied the numbers, I studied the acquisition strategies, how to present the deals to them, and it went well for me. So I started working for other people, figured out, how to do that. It went from acquiring the properties to increasing the value for them through rentals. And then eventually I found one client who wanted me to sort of manage a construction project. I didn't know anything about it. You know how that could be. So I jumped in. It went all right. It was just a lipstick renovation. I did that and I figured, listen, I could probably do this on my own. So I went out and I acquired my own property off market, man. It was like auction property. It was in a market that I saw potential in, which is Little Havana. At today, it's blown up. At the time, it was still like, people breaking into cars and chickens running around all over the
Mm-hmm.
street. It was a little different, but I saw the potential there because I knew how to compare that to my market in Boston, where I had just transitioned from, and how gentrification changed things from like, these poor neighborhoods that had excellent proximity to the bigger city. And I sort of made that connection, and I saw what was happening in Boston wasn't happening in Miami in that area yet. So I said, listen, there's an opportunity. So I jumped in, I zeroed in on that area, did the first deal by myself. It went all right. I made money. It was definitely profitable. Second deal was right next to that. I tried to do a little bit of an assemblage, so put two properties together, add value that way. So that worked also. And then we came back to Massachusetts, a couple of deals here, then a deal in Miami, and it went on. And right now, that's basically what I'm focusing on is just redevelopment and acquisition. So in order to
Wow. That's
yeah, in order
that's
to
that's a pretty great story.
thank you, my brother, thank you. And
and
it's been hard, but it's been working. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because like I want to make a point right here, guys. He says like a lot of things that he has been done it, but it's been a long journey, correct, Jonathan? You
Yeah,
just didn't
very.
start yesterday, no?
No,
How
man.
long it took you to get to the point where you are at right now?
I mean, it's taken me, eight, I want to say 8 to get here where I am now. And it's not even close to where I should be and where I
Yes.
expect to be.
Yeah, we all have that feeling, you know. We wanna always do more. That's why we are on this podcast. We're gonna share tips. We're gonna do things together to be better, and that's the whole goal. And today the episode is about mentoring. So, what do you think to have a mentor in your life? How that affect your life, and what's the result of having a mentor, Jonathan?
I'm glad I came on for this show because it's been one of the most important topics that I've been wrestling with in my career, and it's finding the right mentors and becoming more coachable because I haven't always been the most coachable person, and it's been very difficult for me to get
Mm-hmm.
to where I want to get to because of that, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm difficult to coach, and I understand that, and I'm constantly working on it. Even after all this time, I feel that uh, if I was better at acquiring mentors and utilizing their experience, I would have been a lot further along than where I am now. So it's one of the things that I feel everybody should focus on: being more coachable, being more elastic in your mind, and tapping into those resources. It doesn't make sense to try to reinvent the wheel all over. Somebody's
Yeah.
already invented the wheel. Grab the wheel and find a better application for it. And that's something that I think every entrepreneur should, laser focus on.
That's a great tip. I feel like being coachable, and I feel like for myself, the first things is like I don't say humble because humble I don't like that word, but I say you know what, say that you don't know everything. You're not came with like everybody like you say somebody before you already done it, already make mistake. So why we need to try to make mistake all over again and be hard head on that? Instead, we can have somebody that already done those mistakes, and we just use money. Like money is resources. We can use money to pay for mentorship that they can like speed it up your process. And this is actually what I've done it for my past 7 8 years. I invest a lot of money. I call it invest in yourself, and my process, my learning process, my learning curve, like speed up so fast,
I
because of
agree.
that.
And I first of all, I want to compliment you because I'm not sure if the people listening know you personally, but I do. And I want to say that out of a lot of the people that I've worked with, you have been one of the most resourceful people that I've known. And if you want to get anywhere in life, resourcefulness is essential. You have to know how to find the resources and not waste them, not fumble the bag, like they say. You have to know how to apply it. And out of the people that I've seen do this, I got to compliment you, brother. You're like A1 at this, and it's incredible the growth that I've seen from you. Because you can compare things to where people, you can compare somebody where they are right now and be like, oh wow, this person's great, but you have to see where they came from in order to know what they've gone through.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't come from the same. And what the Davide that I saw 5 years ago, the Dave I saw 5 years ago, from now 6 years, it's incredible. Complete
Appreciate
transformation. So part of the reason I wanted to come on was because selfishly, I want to learn how to be more coachable. So I would
yeah.
love for this. I would love to hear more from you as well on that. But
I
definitely,
appreciate you, brother. I really appreciate you. And as a matter of fact, is the first podcast, is the first episode, and I say I need to have my buddy Jonathan.
thank you so
Uh,
much for that, brother.
we share a lot of struggle. We share a lot of our journey. We take some different road. Right now, I'm doing more coaching for construction company. He's doing more development. But guess what? We always constantly there to help each other, text each other. Hey, how's your journey? What do you do? What can you do better? It's all about like what can you do better today and tomorrow to be like 1% better every day, and get closer to your goal and dreams. That's all it matters.
I just set an alert on my phone every day around noon, and it asks me, "Hey, what have you done today?" Right, every day. What have you done today? And this reminds me that every day I need to do one thing to get me closer to where I want to be tomorrow, man. Because it's not going to happen by itself. It doesn't happen by wishing. It doesn't happen by being positive and putting good energy out there. All of those are ingredients, but you have to put them all together and utilize them. So I agree with that,
Yeah,
brother.
I love that.
100%.
I'm gonna apply that tip.
You're a
That's how I
mentee.
am. Like I feel like myself, what I'm doing great. I'm like a sponge, you know. Like everything that the other people that I connect with, that I'm around with, that they see something that makes sense, I apply it right away. I say, okay, that makes sense. Boom, I do it. You know, I put it on my phone. Somebody like at my lad say, hey, you have a 3 day inside of a day. So right now what I did, I wake up at 5:30, I go to the gym, I train, and then I start working. And by noon, I have the end of the first day. That's my first day.
That's
Then,
awesome. That's
then
all.
from noon to 5, I have my second portion of the day, you know? And
Mhm.
then from 5 to 10, I have my third one. And looking like that, it just changes your perspective of how you see the time and a day, you know? Some of the people, oh, I need to do a 9 to 5, and then after 5, I'm done, you know? No, we as an entrepreneur, we always look different. We always want to do, okay, how can we squeeze that time, which is the most precious thing? And that's where it comes the mentor, you know. You pay for somebody that already spent hours and a lot of time to try to get better in their life. And then you can get that knowledge by paying it. And so you don't waste your time. Make sense?
I agree. I agree 100% with that. That's a beautiful statement. D, let me ask you a question. And this is something that I wrestle with a lot. And this is the same. This is a question that I face. Before before running into the real estate industry, I used to be a fighter, a boxer. And I used to train and coach a lot of fighters as well. And these are guys that are going in there and putting their life on the line. And we're in there putting our lives on the line in this sport because it's serious. And part of the learning strategy. I've studied with a lot of different coaches. I've studied with like the Cuban Olympic boxing coach, with the Irish Olympic boxing coach, and I've had numerous trainers and interactions with these people. And part of what we've always applied in boxing is this idea that you can't train every fighter according to a blueprint that you have. Okay. So you're not going to train a tall fighter to fight like a shorter fighter because he's going to get murdered trying to get in. You can't fight a
Mm-hmm.
tall fighter the same way you would train a short fighter because he's not going
Mm-hmm.
to come in. He's going to fight from the outside. So part of what we always try to do is take our students' strength and sort of use that as their main weapon. But I noticed a lot of some other coaches, and I know you're very different from this because of the way you think, and we've sort of discussed these things. A lot of people sort of want to give every fighter one blueprint. Hey, this is it. Just go do it because it works. But maybe it doesn't work for every student. As a student, as a coach, as a student, I'm sorry, as a mentee, how do you take advice that's given to you and tailor it to your specific circumstances, strengths? Do you have
That's a great
any?
question because I actually just took over with a friend of mine and I helped him building his business. And the first things I actually did, I did a disc assessment. I don't know if you're familiar with that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, definitely.
it's telling you the personality of the person and what you should do and don't with that person. So that tells you already how that person he needs to be tell things to in order to receive those things and then apply to their life. So if you're talking in a way that he likes it, he might be retain more things and apply more things that if you don't do it the way that he likes it to be done, you know? So that's the first things
Absolutely.
that I actually do it, and it's very interesting. And I learned it from my mentors, you know, Brandon Donson and Grant Cardone. They doing a disc assessment. They see the personality of the person, and as far as that person is coachable at the beginning, that he wants to learn, and then you tailor it with the personality that they have, is so much easier to actually transmit the information that you want to transmit to that person. Make sense?
That's beautiful. Yeah. Now, that's from the perspective of the coach. Now, as the student, how would you approach that same question?
Student, you need to be like ground zero. You need to say, unlearn everything. I don't know
Mm,
shit. I don't know shit. I come from nothing. I'm an open book and I want to learn
that's
certain
beautiful.
things and other things. Like from the student, when you start learning, if certain things works, you apply them. If certain things don't work, just pick up. Hey, I don't like this. Hey, doesn't work for me. Oh, I don't understand it. So ask question. Ask the right question to your mentor and say, hey, I don't understand this. Don't be worried like, oh yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I understand. And then when I ask you to repeat me what you have to do it, or the day after that I give you assessment of things that you need to do, and you come back to me, oh, I didn't do shit. Oh, so why you didn't do it? Oh, because I
Yeah,
didn't understand. Well, why you didn't ask me? You know. So
beautiful.
that's how I feel.
So what I got from that is that the first thing is to start as an open book or as a blank canvas. Forget about
Yeah,
what you know before, and let's start fresh. And I guess the second step would be apply those things as soon as possible. Like put them into effect as soon as possible. And then what I'm gathering is once you apply it, you can then revisit, assess what happened, see if it works, see if it didn't work, and if it didn't work, speak to your mentor, explain to them that something didn't work, and then see if there's a miscommunication there. You fully understood the instructions and maybe some strategies to better apply it or something like that.
yeah, it could be. I learned from people that it could be words. Sometimes you don't understand certain words that the person use, and that create a barrier on the study. Makes sense. So if you don't
Yeah,
understand certain word, make sure that you look them up on a dictionary. Make sure that you fully understand those words, what they mean, and then you're gonna see that you learn faster like that. You know.
I love that, brother. That was phenomenal advice, my man. See, that's what I'm here for right here. Good stuff,
We all
man.
here to learn. You know.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. Good advice,
Yeah.
man. Tell me, so what else should we touch on right here? I got a bunch of questions for you, man. I'm like, I came here for
Yeah,
to ask you questions.
go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, we are here to share our knowledge. And whatever I learn from my mentors, if I can share to you guys and we can all learn, that's the point of this podcast, you know?
D, what are some man? This is probably something that I don't know. I'm very much into like tactics, like things that little tricks and tips that you could do to make things easier. And for example, like the what are you doing at 12? That's a tactic that I use to keep my brain where it is because I understand that there's a lot going on and sometimes our
Hmm.
brain bounces from things to things. What are some tactics that you think or that you do to try to apply these things that you're learning right away, this advice, these things that you pick up? What are some tactics you apply to do it right away? Because sometimes you're at a great, you're at a conference or something, you take some great notes and you get this beautiful idea, and then you go home and it's like, yeah, let me go get a drink, and you forget about everything, and you just, it was a good idea, but now you don't apply it. Do you have any
Yeah.
tactics that you apply that you might be able to share with us?
That's
Because
a
I'm all
great
about hearing.
question, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that because we all goes to those conferences, we all goes to listen to those mentors and people that we love and we want to learn about it. But then when we leave that conference, and even if we take notes, that's one thing in the conference. Make sure you take note because our brain it retains like I think was like 15% if we don't take notes, and then after like 2 days you basically go back to zero, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
So taking notes, I think you retain it like 30-40% more and it stays longer in your brain. So definitely takes notes in one trick. And then after you leave, I think every conference I pick like three things, no more than three things that I can apply right away in my life. Okay. So that's my trick. I don't try to get everything because if I do everything, then I get distracted, as you say, and I lose track about it, and then I go back to square zero.
Mhm. That's
Make
awesome, man. I
sense?
love that. Yeah, because you do leave with all these. You have a whole notebook full of stuff, and you try to apply that. It obviously won't work. So that's one thing that I've been looking for little strategies like that, and I think that's a phenomenal point. Another question I
Yeah,
have for you, Dave.
I mean, when you go first, you need to think about it. Why you pick from the beginning? Why you pick that conference? What do you want to get out of that conference? Because a lot of people, they go to all different bunch of conference, from tech to a Grand Cardone to every type of events, like different things. But why you gonna go there? Are you gonna making connection? Do you wanna get something out of it? So you need to see where you are right now as a person and see, okay, why I gonna go to that conference and what I wanna implement or what I wanna get out from that conference that I can apply to my life like right away, you know?
Love that. And that sort of indicates that there's a consciousness, like a purposefulness in what you're doing. There's a purpose behind it. You're not just going over there because everybody's going, because then you'd be going over, you're wasting time. You're going in there with a purpose. This is what this is where I am. This is what I want to get out of this conference. And then
Mm-hmm.
it would make sense that if you have those two ideas, this is who I am, this is what I want to get out of it, then that would then shape what you receive in terms of information, or if you're out there for networking, you sort of purposely network with the right people, and it would also give you a task to complete. If I am here for networking, I'm here to meet 5 new people that could potentially take my business here or help me do this. And then you go in with that intention and you execute. If you're going to a conference, let's say on preparing scope of work for rent for you know for developments. Then you go in there, understanding the things you want to get about preparing the scope of work, take it home and apply it. You're not just there to attend. You're there with a purpose, and that purpose has a desired outcome. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's a
No,
phenomenal take.
100%.
I like
And you can go a little like one level deeper. Let's say, let's go back to I want to meet 5 people. Okay, how do those 5 people look like? Let's, for example, say I want to go for a multifamily event and I want to meet 5 people that they already have 1,000 apartment in their portfolio. So you want to go specific with that intention. And guess what? When you're there, the energy, the people, and everything, they're gonna put you in a spot that you meet those 5 people. And if
that's
by
awesome.
the and usually it's like 3 days conference. If I in the end of day one, I'm gonna review that goal that I put in on myself. And if I didn't meet 5 people, guess what? The day two is the occasion to meet those 5 people. So you have three
That's great.
days to actually achieve your goals, and get to your target. And then so after that, and you do that, and you connect with those people, you feel great because you have a win. And that's all we do,
Oh,
like
that's
small
awesome.
win compounded over time create big success.
Creates big success. I love that. I love that. And when you reach out to part of one of I have two very and I know this and I openly work on these consistently. I have two very strong flaws. One is that the way my brain works, my brain likes to jump from things to things. I'm like
Hmm.
ADD times 10. So I gotta always be active, and what that does a lot of times is that creates an inconsistency
Hmm.
where consistency might be needed. So recently I've started to put together some tools to help me, understand every day I have to meet certain targets in order to achieve my goal. Right? How
Share,
is
what did you do? What did you do? We want to learn.
what you want to learn. So, what are some things that you can do to So that's one of the things, the inconsistency. The second thing for me is the networking situation. I find it
Hmm.
hard to ask for help. That's one of my biggest I hate asking for help. Or maybe I don't know how to ask for help. I don't know what it is, but it leads me to a situation where I got to figure out how to do stuff myself often. And I'm not tapping
Yeah.
into one of our greatest resources, which is the knowledge base that our mentors have to offer us. What are some ways that you think I could benefit from reaching out to people after these conferences and establishing those connections?
Well, one thing that for me it worked like so much is connecting again with those people and go with them and meet them without an agenda. So saying that is like I go there to provide value and help them. I'm not gonna look for something that is gonna benefit me, but I gonna go with the intention of, okay, what are you currently work on, and how can I be an asset for you to provide you value, of resources of people that I know that they can benefit you. And when I go with that like thought, like people start like seeing that you're genuinely there to help them, and start like building like those great relationships, instead of going with the mindset, oh, this person has 1,000 units as example. Tell me everything that you know about 1,000 unit. How can I get my next year? You don't want to go
Hmm.
like that. You want to go like, okay, you have 1,000 unit. What's your main challenge that you have right now? Oh, my property manager right now is suck. I need to find a new property manager. Oh, guess what? My cousin has a property management company that can help you out. I know you both are in Miami, and he can help you out with that. I'm gonna connect you right away, and you do that on the spot. And when that person gonna connect with a person that you refer to, that is gonna help solve their problem, that's like it. You just open doors, like you just
You're a
open
hero.
doors for life.
That is a tactic. That's beautiful, brother. I like that. That's really good. So you serve almost as a connector. And what you did was what you did in that example was you identified a need that this person had, a problem that they needed to solve, and you stepped in and instantly showed them, I can get this taken care of. That is
Yeah.
incredible, brother. That is
I give you just
phenomenal,
a
brother.
short story, and this is happened like last week. This guy, we were on a mastermind course, and this guy say, "Oh, damn, my haircut doesn't look right." And I said, "You know what? I have a barber. I'm gonna call him right now, and I'm sure he's gonna be available for you to do your haircut, because then after he had to go on a podcast. He has to film
Oh
a podcast,
wow,
and he
yeah.
wasn't feel like comfortable." So I actually called the barber. I took him with my car to the barber shop. He did a haircut, and then I brought him back to the podcast. And guess
Wow,
what?
that's incredible.
He put me, just for that reason, he told me, you know what, Davide? This is your turn on the podcast. So he actually turned
Wow.
that I went to his podcast and the podcast of somebody else that was connected with him, and get to their audience, just because I took like an action and I helped him out on that barber
What?
thing.
That is amazing, brother. See, that's value right there, brother. That is providing value and solving problems, man. And that's what the essence of entrepreneurship is about, solving problems, man.
Yes.
I love that example, brother. That was beautiful.
It was funny, because when you look at that, I just did it. I'm just like doing it simple without even thinking about. But when you really like right now, you ask me that question, and I really look back, I did it with intention. Because I was like, I want to connect with this guy. I want to know what he knows, and I want to learn from him.
But you know what? Also, you did it with the intention you wanted to achieve something, but you also did it genuinely. Like
Yes.
that was genuine, man. That wasn't like,
Yes.
oh, I got an idea for how to make money from this. No, it was genuine. It's like, listen, I can help you with this problem, and you solve this problem. But what made it happen was the fact that you already started with that intention. You went with that intention. You went with the intention to meet this, right? So your
Yes.
brain is already on that. It's like when you train a boxer and you teach him how to throw a jab, you have to teach that man how to throw 2,000 jabs. But you know what happens? Now, when he gets in the ring, he throws a jab by mistake. It just happens. If somebody gets too close, he throws the jab. You went in there trained to go meet the right people, the right person presented, and your brain automatically knew what jab it was. Oh, you need a haircut? I'll take care of that for you because I solve problems. That's beautiful, brother.
A
That's
hundred
beautiful.
percent. 100%.
That's
And let
phenomenal.
me rewind it, because that's just when I get to the mastermind. But to get to the mastermind, I had to choose my mentor. And this was something like the people like, also with your mentor, you want to be intentional and specific of who you're going to choose. And let me say something about it, because right now, let's say you are in a
This is
position
very
that
wait.
you
This
need
is
for
very important.
somebody. Huh?
D, 1 second. This is very important because I was going to ask you this question, and I hear where you. I want to be fully focused on this right here. This is important. Can you get back into this? You're going into choosing a mentor and how you approach that and being intentional. And I was going to tell you, I need help with this.
Yeah.
Talk to us, brother. Talk to us about this.
So I think everything comes down to be clear on your goals. Okay, when you are clear on your goals and what you want to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years, then you can start to looking for the person that can help you speed it up that process. And what you want to look at for that is a person that already achieved the level of success or the goals that you have it in your dream boards or whatever, or the reality board that you create. So let's say, I don't know, I give an example. I want to have a plane, a G700. That's my goal. I want to have a G700 Gulfstream jet in 10 years. Okay, who do I look at it that already has a jet like the one that I wanted? And how do I connect with that person so he can teach me how to get the jet? Make sense?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Makes perfect sense.
And
Yeah,
I
so
do
you are.
that for all of the aspect of my life. I don't just do it for material things like a jet. I'm doing okay. I want to build a construction company and I want to get it to $25 million. Okay, who already reached $25 million in the construction business that can help me with that? But you can do it also on the family side. I want to better my relationship. I want to have 2 kids. Okay, who do I learn from that already has a beautiful family and already have 2 kids? And that's how I look at it in every aspect of my life.
So this is modeling. So you model what you want, you find the model, the blueprint for what you want, and then you go and try to make that connection and then work backwards and see what do I need to do to get to here and apply your own. I love that, man.
Yes,
I love
a hundred
that. And
percent.
and how do you go about how do you go about finding how do you go about finding people that are where you want to be? How do you do that? Do you go on social media? Do you start researching? Like how do you how does that work?
Yeah, right now, I mean, social media and internet is a really powerful tool. Before you have to have connection, personal connection, and stuff like that, it was harder. Right now, everything is right here. Hey, I go to social media, I look at it, I can find a person that I want to. As a matter of fact, I just find my new mentor. His name is Eric Spofford, and I just find it through Instagram. I've been
Mhm.
following him for the past 2 or 3 months. I've been seeing what he was doing. Okay, this is aligned to my goal. This is aligned to my goal. This is what I like about him. This is what I don't like about him. And all of the things combined together. And I say, you know what? I pull the trigger and this guy become my mentor. And I pay money. I using resources, which is money, to acquire a new mentor that can speed up my process.
Understanding. So you're investing in that process. You're investing in that education. It's just
Yeah.
tailored. That's beautiful. I understand that completely. And D, um, just out of what do you think is the hardest thing about, or what are the yeah, what is the most challenging thing about finding the right mentor for you, and how can you go about overcoming those obstacles and those challenges? Because I've had a lot of trouble. I've had a little bit of trouble finding the right mentor, and I've tried and gone through many programs, and I'm always seem to be like. Don't get me wrong. Every time I do go through a mentorship program, I absolutely grow. So you cannot say that that hasn't been impactful because I always grow. But I haven't had a long, long established mentorship because I always feel like, okay, I need something else. How do you go about either finding the right mentor, or is that normal part of the process? How does that process work? Getting with, the day to day about it. Okay, I've identified this person's the right mentor for me. Let's say we go on social media, communicate with them. Now that the relationship is established, how do you keep that relationship? And how long do you keep that relationship? Or do you keep moving? How does the relationship, the mentor mentee relationship develop?
That's a really interesting and great question. I think a lot of people will relate to that. Personally, I mean, I don't have all of the answer, but to me, it comes down to know what you want. If you are really know what you want, and again, it goes back to goals, it goes back to specific things that you
And
want in life.
intention and intentionality, which you've mentioned a few times.
Yes, we mentioned inside of the conference. If you go with the intention to meet the 5 people and you know what you're looking into those 5 people, it's the same thing with the mentor. I'm looking for a mentor that is like this, that is build $150 million business, that he knows how to sell a business, that he knows how to raise money, that he knows how to, that he has a jet, that he has a beautiful house like I wanted. So you start like doing check mark on those lists. And if I would say like 90% of the things that you see they are really aligned with your goals, just go for it, you know? And then after a while, like it's gonna happen that you're gonna reach the same level as your mentor, and means you did a great job. At that point, you're gonna change the mentor and you go for a bigger one, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah. So basically, make again. It's intentionality and a purpose. And once you get to the point where you've attained what you needed in the growth, you continue your path of growth. I love that. That's beautiful. I think I found my mentor, guys. I think I found my mentor right there, brother. It's awesome, man. That's
Uh,
excellent advice, David.
I hope it helps you.
It is. You don't even know how helpful this. Just I'm taking notes on everything we're talking about here. I got my notes going, my transcriber, and I'm going to hopefully I can take this conversation and create a couple of tactics, a couple of strategies to start applying right now.
Yeah.
Especially the intentionality, the providing the value, knowing what you're going for, and clean slate. Beginning as a clean slate, forget everything you know. Sometimes it's tough when you've been in the business for a long time. A lot of when I was coaching the fighters, it used to be easier for me to coach the kids, because you're starting fresh. They don't know what they're doing, so you don't have to get rid of any bad habits and then build new habits. So I think that if we as mentees can take that first step and erase our own bad habits, or come in intentionally knowing the bad habits, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to create that clean slate, that clean
Yeah,
state
just
mentality.
always be coachable. Always. Like life is always, you're gonna always learn something. Like the bad things and the good things, but you always gonna learn something. But when you step into a room and you think you already know everything, is definitely the wrong approach, definitely the wrong
Mhm.
approach because you don't know who you're gonna meet. That day could change like with two words, it could change definitely your trajectory of your life.
Absolutely beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for that, D. That was great, man. That was good, man.
Anytime, anytime.
This is invaluable, brother. This is $1 million worth of education right here. Seriously.
Appreciate you to be here. Appreciate your time. I know you're very busy guy. So we are about to wrap it up the episode. I hope you guys enjoy. I think were a lot of valuable tips for people that we want to learn about mentorship, that they try to find a mentor that they want to grow in their life. Because this episode and this podcast is about growth, is about how we construct our future together, because entrepreneur is a lonely journey, correct, Jonathan?
Absolutely. That's a very lonely journey.
So if we can all collaborate, if we can all share our experience, it's gonna be a better journey, and everybody's gonna benefit. There is so much abundance in this world.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much,
All
D,
right, guys.
man.
So I hope you like it. Subscribe right
Mm,
here on the link below. This is my YouTube channel. And again, thank you, Jonathan, for being part of this amazing podcast.
let's go.
And see you next episode. Let's go.
All right, D. Peace.